So my grant was telling the tale, and it was all about storytelling and trying to incorporate storytelling with our writing skills. It was, let's see, let me flip through here. I'm nervous that the thing won't work. Okay. Our concerns were that, we needed to work on public speaking skills and writing skills. And when I surveyed my students, 25% of them felt confident telling a story in front of the class, which is really small. And they needed lots of practice. And I got the idea, oh, it's all mixed up. Hold on. I got the idea after going to a Narrative 4 conference. I went to a meeting where we practiced, like different teachers and authors practiced talking to each other. And like I would tell my story to you and you would tell your story to me. And then we were supposed to go off on our own and come back and tell it as if it were our story. And so I thought our students would really like to do that, but I bet they would be too nervous. So my grant was to get 4 iPads, and then the students could videotape themselves like out in the hallway telling their story, and then that way they could re-watch it and gain confidence and wouldn't have to tell it in front of a whole group because public speaking is scary. So while we waited on the 4 iPads, because that was like the biggest part, waiting on your stuff, we went to different storytellers, and we're really lucky because we're right by the national park. So we got to go to lots of things where we could listen to them. And I asked them to brainstorm things that storytellers needed. So they said that they needed to be excited, they needed to be prepared, they needed to be truthful and real, and have clear voice. So we started off with everybody took a story. It was really short, like 2 or 3 paragraphs, and talked to the iPad and listened to themselves, and they edited. And some of my students really like to edit themselves over and over again. And they taped themselves. We did it in front of the green screen because the plan was to change the background and make like little movies, but we didn't get all the way through it. So it's still a work in progress. Here's my sound. Should I put it here? I do the sound. It's on full. Okay. Well, I taped a lot of them to show you their stories. And I put them in groups. Some groups would go in front of the green screen, and then other groups would go to their journals and write out their stories because the plan was to turn it into little mini memoirs. And lots of my kids said, I'm ready, I practiced, I know what I'm doing. And then I would get them in front of the green screen, and it would look like this. I have like tons of bloopers because they were always say they were ready, and they were never ready. And then I had other students that wanted to tell a million stories. I hope you can hear it.
I'm going to tell you a football story about Hillsborough versus Knox County. So it was the first play, and I struggled the first game with the quarterback's knee. So they tried to do that play. We shut them down. It kept on going, trying to get that play off. But we got on the 4th down, they punted. We had a long drive on the way back, still didn't score. We got close to the goal line, and this kid ran full speed and kicked Kate Grigsby right in the leg. That's our quarterback. And then he got injured for the rest of the game, which put me as quarterback, and I was really nervous because we was playing a team like 2 times bigger than us. And then after that, we just went downhill. I caught a pass when we ran at the second half when Caden was playing quarterback. So then after that, it just went back and forth until the very, very end when they gave it to their halfback, which plays quarterback most of the time. They handed off to him, and he gunned one down the field. They caught it and won. Kicked the field goal to end it, and that's how we lost the game.
This little guy told a million stories. This one's really cute. It's about his grandparents.
My name is Daniel Thomas. I'm in the fourth grade, and I'm in Miss Crawford's class. And I'm going to tell you a story about how my grandma fell in love with my papa. So one day, my grandma went up to the woods, and she found a real big tree, and she carved Mary and plus Caldana. That's their names. So after that, in the wood, after that, they got married, and they ended up buying that house, and that was right below it. And then after that, they got married when they was 16, and then they carved our names in the tree. All the kids and the parents. That's my story.
Oh. One thing I learned is that lots of the kids that I didn't think would sit in front of a group or even speak in front of a group, they just loved getting up, especially in front of that green screen. They thought that was the neatest thing. They would just tell anything.
We were driving up in the mountains, and all of a sudden, the car started shaking. We ran out of gas. So we decided to get out the car and run the rest of the way. All of a sudden, there was all kinds of cars coming by, and we got scared. So there's another car that came by, and it stopped. It was our mom and dad. We got saved. And until that day, we were not allowed to go up that mountain. The moral of the story is wait for help.
And the whole point of really narrative 4 is to switch your stories with someone else. And she really did steal one of the teacher's stories and pretended it was her own. So it was pretty cute. And then here's one more.
This is the funniest story of all ever heard. So, I was only 10 years old when this happened. And we went to New York, got on the ferry to go to Ellis Island. And right when we got off the boat, a sweet, delicious smell filled the air. And I knew that if I had to make this decision, then my stomach would help me make it. And it was Statue of Liberty versus a churro. So, might call me crazy, but I chose the fake churros. And they were the best 3 churros in the world. Might say I missed out, but I think not. I now know Ellis Island as Churro Island.
I learned a lot about people. I said for next year, I would like to continue telling the tale with new students, but I've learned some things, like I need to start early. I waited for the iPads for so long, and I shouldn't have done it that way. I should have started. And I'm going to partner my kids up, because I think that if they build a relationship throughout the year instead of like sporadically putting them with different people, that they'd be more comfortable. And then people ask me every day, when are we going to do the green screen? When are we going to do the green screen? I mean, even last week, kids were like, when's it my turn? And then I'd like to create an iMovie with all of their stories, like a collection of tales from Middlesboro. Lots of our students have been really successful with public speaking this year. When the new coin was released, 2 of our students were chosen to kind of be the MCs, and they're just 4th graders. So I feel like all that practice speaking has helped.